This simple illustration demonstrates how portfolio theory works. Imagine you have an investment portfolio that contains two shares. Gelato makes ice cream and Hot Choc makes hot chocolate. Suppose that there are four different types of weather: cold but sunny, hot but rainy, cold and rainy, and finally hot and sunny. Now suppose that over the last 5 years, each type of weather period occurred 25% of the time. From this, we can assume that each will have a 25% chance of occurring in the next 5 years. These 25% probabilities are shown in the table next to the average monthly returns over the last 5 years for Gelato and Hot Choc. Take a look at the hot and sunny period. The return for Gelato is expected to be 17.21%. Obviously, there were great ice cream sales. But a loss of 9.07% is expected for Hot Choc, so clearly not much call for hot chocolate. You can calculate the monthly expected return by multiplying each month's outcome by its probability. For Gelato, this is 1%. Here, 0.25, the chance of that type of weather occurring in a particular period, is multiplied by minus 11.38%, which is the expected return in that period, and so on. Then the annual or yearly equivalent return is just the compound value of the monthly return. For Gelato, each £1 invested earns a monthly return of 1%. In the first month, this would grow to £1 times 1.01. In the second month to £1 times 1.01 times 1.01, and so on for 12 months. Using this method, the annual equivalent return for Gelato is 12.7%. The annual expected return is the usual way to express returns on shares. Risk is measured by looking at the standard deviation or dispersion of returns. The more highly dispersed or spread out or volatile the returns are, then the higher the risk involved in holding the share. These risk measures are also shown in the table: 13.8% for Gelato and 8.2% for Hot Choc. These measures can be displayed in a risk-return diagram. The vertical axis represents the expected return, and the horizontal axis represents risk. Point A shows what happens if the investor chooses to invest 100% of their portfolio in Hot Choc. You can see the risk on the horizontal axis of the diagram. This measures at 8.2%. The expected return can be read off the vertical axis. In Hot Choc's case, it is 4.4%. However, at point B, if the portfolio only holds Gelato shares, both risk and expected return are higher. The example of Gelato and Hot Choc provides a very good illustration of the risk-return trade-off. Hot Choc is safe, but has a low return. Gelato is riskier, but has a higher return. If an investor wants to get high returns, then they have to take on higher risk. That's where portfolio theory comes in. Using portfolio theory, you can identify the best balance of shares in your investment portfolio to either reduce risk or maximize returns.